All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Lucent Truth, and we are the Lucent Truth, starting with King 81
in the building.
Lexi Anna McMurray.
She's got nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Johnny Mozzarella.
Yo, what's up?
And Carbon X. And lastly, G-Flux the Great. G-Flux the Magnificent.
All day.
All right, today we're going to be doing a review of a movie we just got out of theaters watching, and that movie is
Evil Dead Rising.
Evil Dead Rising, directed by
Cronin.
Cronin. I've never heard of the guy before.
Never heard of him.
I've never seen any of his movies, so this is our first time seeing any of his work. And we're going to discuss it a little bit, starting with, of course.
But it was produced by Bruce Campbell and Sam Rami. So some of the shots you can tell they had their influences. And I'm sure he watched the originals too, because you can tell like it was inspired by the original films, obviously.
Yeah, and that's good that they had some people attached to the original franchise. Kind of keep it true to its.
Yeah. Keep it authentic.
Yeah, keep it authentic. So yes, that's good. That's good. But we're going to start with cinematography and effects, and just generally, how we feel about that. Starting with Carbon X.
Calm down.
I like most of the camera shots. I really like the camera shots, and he was like using like that drone. It had that shaky effect.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say the effects. You saw the blood. That blood was pretty good. Like all the blood effects they did. I feel like most of it was practical, but they did a pretty good job on the blood.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the camera and all the blood effects, they were really good.
So overall, you like the cinematography?
It was pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Johnny Mozzarella?
Yeah, it was great. I was actually thinking about that too. I was just like, a lot of the new movies, they're just heavy on the CGI effects. And I'm sure there was a lot of CGI, obviously, in this. But they did a good job of blending it, and it looked like they did some practical effects in there. Like it looked really, really good. I'm glad that they probably didn't. I don't know for sure. I'll have to look it up because special effects have just gotten so good nowadays that it's kind of hard to tell. But a lot of the stuff looked real. Nothing looked cheesy or fake, or was just like, okay, that's obviously CGI. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like everything looked really good, and some of the shots. My favorite shot of the movie is actually it was the beginning when they showed that pyramid-looking cabin.
Yeah.
I just thought that, and with the trees, the trees on the side just looked weird. They didn't look like natural trees. It's just something about those trees, and that shot I thought was like one of the prettiest shots in the. There was a bunch of them. But that's one of the ones that stood out to my mind the most. But it definitely gets A+ on the cinematography.
Okay. King 81.
Yeah, same thing here too. The cinematography, top notch with it, man. I like a couple of those, like a shot, man, like at the door, looking through there, the view, and you seeing all the action going on taking place. I love how they tie that in, even like in the water and stuff, like how they would like submerge it wise. It's just the cuts and scenes and stuff is on point. The cinematography for it. So yeah, definitely feeling.
Yeah, I have to say the one shot where the drone was going through the forest, it was harkening back to the original Evil Dead, where you saw the camera going through the forest really fast to represent basically the demon, traveling to find a body
like his next host.
Yeah, and they kind of was paying homage to that with that, but I didn't like that first shot. It seemed the original ones that done in the 80s was better than that one, and we have better technology now. Now later on they did the same shot, and it seemed to be similar to the older.
I think that first one, because I felt kind of similar too. I think it was because they put the
it's too high. The camera was
it was a little high, but I thought it was because they put the words in. I think that takes away from the shot.
Mm-hmm.
They like the opening credits.
That's what you're saying. Yeah.
I think if they wouldn't have had the opening credits, that shot probably would have been a little bit more visceral.
It also, but when I was looking at it, it also just seemed like it was a drone going through. It didn't seem like. I don't know if it's because of how it was moving, or whatever, or the rate of the speed or whatever. It just didn't seem the same. It didn't have the same effect on me as it did when I watched the ones that came out in the 80s.
I mean, but then 10 of it was via drone, though, remember?
I know, but they were also trying to harken back to something. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but
Kind of modernizing it, wires and stuff with it.
I guess, yeah. My favorite shot, it wasn't even like a scary shot. It was, well, they were trying to make it somewhat scary for the little girl with the rubber ducky, but it was when the aunt placed her hand into the water, and you could see part of her hand was in the water, and you could see, I thought it was
part of her face.
Yeah, it was really good.
That was a nice shot.
Yeah, there were some shots that they used that they were paying homages to other horror movies, like in the end where they're in the elevator full of blood, and then the door opens up and they just fall out of the elevator with all this blood. That was clearly a callback to The Shining.
The Shining, yeah.
Yeah, and so that was nice. But overall, man, I have to agree with you guys. I think the shots, the cinematography, the lighting. Oh my God, the lighting was really good.
Well done.
In this, the
a lot of detail in there too.
Yeah, the
especially
way
when she was on the turntables.
Exactly.
And it's like when the light flicker from the EQ thing, something like that. It's like you see it on her face a little.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah. So they did a good job in just having the that old fashioned stove with the where you have the gas stove. And you see the little fire, and it was kind of lighting up the kitchen. That was really good. There was a lot of good scenes, a lot of good cuts in it.
With the bathroom when she's up on the ceiling.
Oh, up on the ceiling.
Stuff.
Yeah, so there's some good things. I mean, all the way down to where she had the tattoo needle to her eye. I was like, yo, dude. I was like, but yeah, there was some. I think overall, man, I think it's probably the best part. That's my favorite part of movies. Of this movie was the cinematography and the special effects, or the effects, I should say. I thought that was the best part of the movie. It set the mood really well. And it didn't let you down. Like John said, nothing seemed cheap or out of place or goofy. It was only that first shot I kind of didn't like. Or even the shots in the beginning with the cabin where homegirl was talking to her friend, and stuff like that, and she was like on the bed, and how like they did the close-up shots of the books that she was reading, and she was like reciting it even though she couldn't see it. I was like, this.
It was really good.
They did a good job setting up the tension and stuff like that. So I was like, I have to give them that.
The crazy thing about this too, man, at my parents' house, there's actually a house down the street that's like that.
Oh, for real?
So now every time I roll,
pyramid house.
Yes, I'm like, yo, I can take pictures, send it to you. That's crazy.
Yeah, even to expand on that, like the set design. I like the way the apartment looked. How the doors, the little etchings on there, like everything had like a nice touch to it that added into like the creepiness of the film. Like everything, like from the doors to like the windows to the doorknobs, everything was like, you can tell they spent a lot of time like, okay, we don't just want to just be any old apartment. We want this apartment, even the way the outside of it, how it looked, like the shots that they were giving, especially when the rain coming down, like how the windows, it was just like, this is like a creepy place. It's not like a nice downtown Manhattan apartment. It's old, it's broken
sideways.
down.
Some of the shots, man.
Yeah. I mean, it was like the set design was really good. Like they picked a good location, I thought.
I have to agree with that. The set design was good. You know what? Now that you say that though, my least favorite part of the movie when it comes to the set and how it looked was the ending in the parking garage. Something it's almost anticlimactic how it ended with that.
The whole scene kind of
that scene.
Final boss.
Yeah, and I think it's because the final. Well, we'll get into this later. The final creature just wasn't that frightening. Yeah, but so it was a bit anticlimactic, but we'll get into that. So, does anybody else have anything else to say about the cinematography and effects?
You got it.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the plot and the story. And I think plot is the sequence of events, and the story is why something happens. I think that's how.
Or what happens.
Or it's why it
the
happens.
Story is,
Yeah, whereas the plot is what happens, the actual sequence of events. So Carbon X, plot and story.
Am I getting like a summary or something, or what?
No, give us your thoughts about the overall sequence of events. What do you think about it? Was it well paced?
I definitely feel like it was pretty well paced.
Did it intrigue you that the story?
Oh yeah, especially at the beginning. Like, at the beginning, I thought, man, this is gonna be some regular one. I saw the douche with the drum. I thought it was gonna be like he's gonna be like the douchebag kind of character. I was like, whatever.
Oh, you mean the guy with the drum?
Yeah, I was like, you're gonna have your typical character, the nerd girl, the douchebag guy,
Yeah.
got the person with sleeves. That's originally I thought he was gonna do. And then she goes to her friend and says, "I actually can read my book." And her friend starts starting the book. I'm like, "Oh, it's not what the Royal House to recite the book like that." And
Can you speak about a little bit, Caleb, because you're the furthest away from the.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
But it's like, they definitely changed my expectations. When she woke up out of that bed or whatever, she threw up, and after she threw up and she woke up and she just like snatched her whole scalp up. I was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? I was like, that was crazy. I was like, what? Like after that, I was like, okay, this is gonna be cool to watch. After that, like, it got me after that.
So it brought you in.
Right.
It brought you in like right away. It got you in.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah. Okay.
And then from there, they kind of kept the tension, because it's like at first they're just showing like the regular fame life, and then the earthquake happens. They know how to like set it. They still know how to tell the story, and then when it starts getting kind of boring, they just have something to shake it up. All of a sudden, that's kind of what I like. It's like they have something to shake it up to kind of get your interest back into it. I wonder what's happened. And that's basically that one dude went in there, and that one guy went in there, got the book, and then I like the book design. The book has all that teeth knock.
For the audience, he's saying one of the children in the
the blonde haired guy. I don't know his name, but the blonde haired guy.
Yeah, an earthquake happened, and it created a hole in the parking garage, and because the building used to be a bank, below it was a vault. It was like an abandoned vault, and in the vault, he found the Necronomicon, the book, and some records. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically he uses the book and the record, that's basically how he summons the demon. And I like how first, he actually has to play the scratch record, he has to actually move it around quicker than what it is actually get to actually playing the words. Mm-hmm. That was pretty cool. And I like how it looked at it. I like that. Yeah. I thought the record player looked at pretty good detail and everything.
Talk about curiosity killed the cat.
I know.
Yeah. I don't know he would keep going on with that. I was about to say, after you look at the pages in the book, after he opened up the book, it took his blood. I would have been like, it's a book with teeth on it. I don't know if I want to do anything with this.
I would have thrown it out the window.
Exactly. She was like, we will go back and return this. I'm like, you might as well throw this thing in the trash, burn it. I'm like, we're not going back there. I'm like, nah.
Until the next day, no.
I'm like, you shouldn't go back there, period.
Yeah.
But it's like, he was curious and he basically summoned that demon. It was kind of crazy. So the demon it kind of flew out of nowhere. I like the cameras where the demon just flies in, to the.
How old are you, Caleb?
22.
Have you ever seen the original Evil Dead movies? Oh, okay.
I have not.
All right. Because that's in the original movies. That's how he shows the demon that is about to get into someone. It's the camera zooms.
Yeah, because I remember it goes through the apartment, to get the one lady in the hotel, and it's like I remember it hit her so hard that she starts flying up the elevator. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. What is it? I'm just kind of summarizing movies. I just keep summarizing them.
You don't have to summarize. Just tell us what you thought. What about the end? Did you like the end?
The ending was, I don't know. The ending was kind of rough. The final form of the demon was not the coolest. It kind of felt like it lost most of its abilities to just get slower. And I'm like, why would you change your final form to get weaker? I've never seen a boss want to go to final form.
And we were talking about this.
That's kind of what it feels like.
Oh, I was gonna say she did get her legs shot off and stuff like that. So maybe she was the ringleader type. The leader part, so
she could fly.
Oh yeah,
and that's what I was gonna say. Even in the original Evil Dead movies, there was never any consistency to the deadites. Sometimes they really have super strength and rip your arms off. Sometimes you can just punch them like how Ash was punching.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So there was never any real consistency to what their powers were or whatever, or not so much what they were, but how often they could use them, I guess. And the only thing I can think of is maybe, we were talking about this in the car, I'm thinking maybe the deadites, they feed off of terrorizing people, so they use whatever it is to terrorize you as much as possible before they kill you. That's the only thing I can think of. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm that doesn't fully make sense. All the regular guys out and all the people out in that hallway, she just immediately killed them, super quick. And
but if it's a demon that's possessed the one lady, it knows her memories. So all it knows about them is that they're neighbors. Oh, I killed them or whatever. And that helps terrorize the family members because she knows the family members.
Oh, yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm assuming. I don't know. I'm just guessing because there's never been any consistency. So I'm trying to bring some kind of logic to it. But also, if it's supernatural and it's just demons, there is no logic. It's just they just do random. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what they.
Definitely.
Motivation.
The demon is stronger at some points and weaker at others. It's kind of one thing I wish they would some kind of ground rules about that. Because sometimes it just feels a little bit off, especially in the final form. It just felt off that it just magically became weaker. Because if it had the same powers, it would just do that jump thing when she came with the chainsaw, that jump thing when she jumped on the ceiling or whatever. It would just did that.
Well, he ain't have no legs, so.
I mean, it had arms and legs. He would use all his arm power, and that thing would have jumped like a frog or something. Just jump all the way whenever she would hit the chainsaw thing or something. I don't know.
You know what? It would have been better if it would have made more sense if they had dismembered all of the deadites in their fight, and that's why it kind of came together like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But there was other deadites that were perfectly.
They were just walking around.
Why did they have to merge with that final one?
Let alone, like, even she lost her legs.
I mean, it has something to do with the book.
It did, but it was so anticlimactic. You think it would be bigger, larger, stronger, faster. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, these final bosses are stronger versions of the original boss. It's not supposed to be a weaker version. I'm like, it really downgraded itself. That's my only problem with the movies. The boss really downgraded itself. Actually, another thing too. Some of the characters make stupid decisions. Okay, so like the one girl that was one that jumped in a hole after an earthquake, like underneath the stars.
Okay, let me stop you there. He keeps calling this boy a girl.
Or girl or boy, whatever.
But I gotta stop you there because I was gonna wait till my turn. But since you said it and since you made the mistake again, I gotta say this. What is it with pushing androgyny on the younger generation? Because I noticed that too. I was like, you couldn't tell the difference between a boy and a girl. Like the daughter looked like a little boy,
and the boy looked like a little
girl. I was like.
I don't get it.
Like, what is it with that? What is it with pushing?
And he only had like the one earring, and I'm like,
yeah,
you know what's going on? But I mean, they were kind of trying to push like, okay, you know, he's an artist because he was in there working on his craft and stuff like that.
Yeah,
DJing. So I mean, it could be kind of tied into that now. Why the girl?
But he was older. See, it'd be different if he was a younger boy, because sometimes when you're younger like that, you know, unless the girl has like really long hair and she's wearing girly clothes. If you cut the girl's hair short, you put her in boys' clothes. Most kids, sometimes you can't tell. Now some boys still look very masculine when they're young, but most little kids you can't tell unless you dress them up a certain way. He was the oldest one. He was like 14, 15, but he looks like a girl.
Yeah, I mean,
you see what I'm saying? It was weird. I don't want to, because I was going to say this for my part, so I'm just going to like be quiet. I'll let you finish, Caleb. But I'm gonna come back to that because I noticed that about this. Yeah.
Well, it's
Oh, okay.
Okay, we still good.
That's fine. Yeah.
Call us.
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
But I'm like, from what he could have did, okay, if he has the willingness to do that, okay, after an earthquake where kids collapse on top of him, that man would have the willingness to like climb on the window and go knock on somebody else's window and be like, let me in so that I can call somebody or something. Like he had some other things he could have done, you know? That's my only problem. Some characters make some stupid decisions. But other than that, it was overall a good movie besides stupid decisions and the final boss.
Yeah, it took forever for him to hit his mom with that chair.
Yeah, that's what I was talking
about. We all cheered. We were like, finally, hit her with the chair.
I mean, there was you know, in the beginning.
Yeah, I'll pass on to some of those. You can talk now. I got myself.
The story. I mean, I like the story. I mean, there's not really much to the story because, you know, it's almost like a remake or even maybe a continuation of the original film. So it pretty much follows the same storyline. So the story isn't like super deep or anything like that. But I thought the plot was well done. Like the series of events and what happens, because this is like the opening scene is like, I guess, quote unquote present day. And this is like the day before. So they're explaining how you got to
that point.
To that point. And I thought all that was very well done. They did a good job of showing with a limited amount of time. This movie was only an hour and a half.
Yeah.
With a very small window of time, I thought they did a good job of showing you the family dynamic and showing you how this family interacts with each other and how much they care for each other. So I think some of the hesitation to attack the mom, even though she's clearly possessed, it made some sense
in the beginning.
In the very beginning, especially for children, and none of her children seem like they're hyper aggressive. So no, I didn't expect them to be like, okay, yeah, you know, Bruce Campbell, I'm going, you know, it made sense. You know what I'm saying? It's frustrating as a viewer watching it. It's frustrating, but it makes sense. Now, after they like, okay, something is clearly not right. It's just like, come on, man. So, like, I actually didn't have a problem with the son being freaked out and just kind of, like, staring off into, like, what the heck is going on or whatever. But once you see everything that's happening, your mom's possessed, she's stuck outside, your sister is now crazy, she is possessed. Why did he just lay there and watch his possessed sister stab him and then pull it out of his arm and then sat there again and watched her put it in his chest? Boggles the mind. That's just bad writing. I'm sorry. Like, even if you're still shocked, like, this is my sister or whatever, he's already seen enough to be like, okay, to snap out of it.
And he's not young.
He's not like
14, 15 years old.
He's definitely like a 14 or 15-year-old kid. Like, I'm sorry. That's
he's driving. He's probably 16.
How about the fact like he kept saying like,
right?
If he's like,
driving,
this is my fault. Like he was like,
exactly. Like there's some guilt. There's some guilt there, but for him to just lay there and just watch her stab him twice, not once but twice. So you talking about the first one didn't wake you up? Come on, man. Like that's just bad. That's really the only problem. I agree with you. Like the final boss just didn't look good at all. I get what they were trying to do because everything that was happening, it was according to the pages in the book. So I get it. It just didn't look cool. Like it didn't look cool.
It didn't do anything cool.
Yeah, it didn't do anything. And then you didn't really get a good look at it. If you think about it, all the shots of it, you didn't really get a good clear look. It just looked like it's just mess.
Yeah,
it's just
like
like
the only
mess.
one I think I probably saw when the mom, when she was in the elevator and she was at the top like this and they like flashed like the picture of the person like this too. It's like that's really the only one really, and the one with all the arms coming out and all too. You know that kind of spelled out those scenes wise, but
right,
pretty much you really got to look at it.
Yeah, like you didn't really get a good look at it, and it just wasn't designed. It just wasn't well designed.
Or it looks like the creature from the end of Limbo. You ever played Limbo?
No.
It's called Limbo.
Yeah, I found a picture before you get it.
Okay. All right, King 81, what do you think of the plot?
Oh yeah, I feel like the pacing was pretty good with it though. It was just enough time on enough different scenes to help tell the story and get the idea through and stuff like that and all. But yeah, I mean, just purely evil. You know, like they definitely showed that. I really feel like visually that was more strong with it and stuff and all. So I don't want to say like the plot was weak or anything like that. It was just mysterious. And like I said, like for me, I've never. Sorry, y'all. Shame. I get shame. You know, I haven't seen the original ones. I've seen parts of them and stuff, but it's enough mystery in there to know, like, okay, well, what's going on? And I kind of, blame myself because I really don't know all of it. But it's like, but still, just like my first watching a full length of it, it's just a mysterious evil, and it can get boring. You're like, okay, well, it's just the visual, what's going on, and the way how it was written, it kept me engaged. It just felt like the whole time during the whole movie, it was like the foot to the gas on, just nonstop going on. So I feel like if they had like another little too slow of a moment, it would have kind of killed it. But I mean, every scene, it just kept going with it. So.
Once it got going, it
just kept going. So just the pacing with that, I really like that, and also.
I'll say this: even if you watch the older movies, you're not gonna get a lot of answers because the Necronomicon or the Book of the Dead that's in the show is actually a MacGuffin or a trope taken straight from Lovecraftian horror. Lovecraft was the horror writer. And the idea behind his work is that the unknowable or the evil that's in the unknown or the darkness, humans can't understand. It drives us crazy. So you're not gonna get any answers.
Okay, well they craft it right.
Yeah,
so it works. It didn't get boring.
I'd say this. I ultimately agree with most of you guys. I think pacing. I think the plot was actually really good. Like well paced, well done, well crafted. Even like how they showed like showing in the beginning, showing the present day and going back to the day before.
As if this is a joint mess of people.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But my problem is the story. Now again, like we just said, Lovecraftian concepts don't necessarily have very deep stories where they're trying to tell you something about human nature. Well, I guess it is kind of something about human nature as far as we try to put meaning. We try to put meaning on the universe. As humans, we do that because we're trying. You know, we fear the unknown. We fear death. We fear the idea that all this might be meaningless. So I think that aspect it does show. I didn't like some of the other subtexts they had, like the whole. If you think about it, men or the male aspect was completely useless in this entire movie. In common Western tradition, it's women who open up Pandora's box, right? It's women who don't listen and let the evils out in the world. But in this, the boy does it. The man leaves his family. The man at the beginning is a jerk. You know what I'm saying? The boyfriend, he's a jerk. Even the two men in the movie who were decent men were useless. You know what I'm saying? I guess everyone was useless. Oh no, because at the end, the woman, she gets the chainsaw and she basically becomes Ash. Right. You know what I'm saying? So she's the tough one who saves the day. I don't have a problem with women saving the day, but I'm seeing a trend here, and the trend is instead of feminists, because let's be honest, this is a feminist movie. You know, you got this woman-led family, androgynous children. She got tattoos all over her body. It's the typical modern crap. You know what I'm saying? And I'm starting to see a trend, and the trend is instead of feminists being creative and doing their own thing, coming up with their own compelling ideas and stories, they're taking old stories and just injecting the feminist crap in it. We see it all throughout Star Wars. We've seen it all throughout Marvel, and now they're doing it to this movie. Now, great, I get to get that. Give her credit. It's well done. It's well done. I have to give it that. But I could have done without the feminist subtext. I could have. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to the story, I hated it. I'm sorry. Because the plot and the sequence of events and the lighting and all that stuff and effects and everything, it was good. But
well, I mean, it was a rehash. I mean,
yeah, it's a rehash. It's a rehash with an agenda, is what I'm saying.
Oh, boy.
And that turned me off. But I was able to turn that off and just kind of let the movie speak to me on its own. And look, it's a well-crafted movie. Despite me not liking the feminist crap, it is a well-crafted movie. I gotta give him that. I gotta give him that. It was pretty good. Pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Anybody else? Anything else to say about the plot and story?
That's everything.
All right. Oh, one last thing. You're right. A lot of dumb decisions because when the sister got turned into a deadite and they thought that they killed her and she was immobile, they should have threw her out the window.
Right out a whole trash chute down there. Yeah. Get through the trash chute.
Right. Her out there.
Well, no, you would have had to go outside to get to the trash chute.
I mean, it would have been close to the trash. Can I have one guy outside pushing that trash?
Why? Just throw her out the window. Throw her
out the window. Because the mom was outside. You don't want to go outside.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think you had a scene where she wakes back up and kills that one guy. Remember that was that one guy walking out?
Or the one part where the boy, he realized it wasn't a cat in the chute. It's clearly your mom.
Yeah, he should have started running then. He should have
open the door. That's the time you want to get out.
You want to get out, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So this is a lot of dumb decisions by the characters. So, but you kind of expect that in horror movies.
Right.
At this point. All right, guys, we're gonna move on to acting and writing. So, Carbon X, what did you think of the acting and the overall writing?
I mean, writing as far as some of the character dumb decisions. I mean, you already know what my opinion about that. But other than that, I mean, the story was pretty good. I feel like the way they did the book and everything out of the book had this kind of ritual thing, as it would use the record player to kind of continue the ritual. That was kind of cool.
Speak up a little bit.
I feel it was kind of cool how the record player used the record player to make the ritual thing to summon the spirit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
like the spirit moving that punching bag right now.
Yeah.
Strike two. Right. Strike two.
Who do you think had the best acting?
I think the mother.
The mother, man. She
was
killing.
Yeah, without her, she literally said the movie. But without her, she didn't do a good acting.
Yeah.
The movie would have lost point. I'm like, I feel like the one with the black hair. Whenever she became her zombie state, like, I feel like her acting kind of fell off to a certain. Before that, she was kind of like the reasonable one. Like she'd be like, shouldn't do that. You know, I feel like her acting's pretty good. She feel like a solid character. Just her zombie. Some of the stuff she said when she was in her possessed state, I was like, I don't know. This feels kind of off. You know.
Mm-hmm.
That would say that would be the worst acting. I feel like, you know.
All right.
I mean, and then the kid or the little girl. I mean, I can't say much about her. She didn't necessarily do a lot besides be scared. But she's like a little girl. There's not much she could do. I felt the blonde guy. I feel like he did his part pretty good. You know, he was curious and kind of messed up the whole family. But the way he acted, I feel like he did it pretty good. You know. And I guess like her sister, I feel like did a fine job too.
Right. Okay.
So.
What about you, Johnny Mozzarella?
I think actually everyone did a great job. The only one I didn't really care for was the aunt. I didn't really like her character. I don't know what it was. It's just something about her, and especially at the end, I didn't like her lines at the end.
Yeah.
Because I get what they were doing. They were taking some of the lines from the original and they were giving it to her, but she didn't have the stage presence as I thought Bruce Campbell had when he delivered those lines. But the mom stole the show. Everything was about the mom. I actually thought the little girl actually did a really good job. Like she played her role good. Like everything that she was doing and saying was like what a kid would do in that situation. So I actually thought I actually thought she was the best one outside of the mom. She was definitely the second best one. Everyone else I thought played their role. The writing was decent. We already spoke about the story. It's not really much to the story. It's just a rehash. But yeah, I think the acting was solid. I think everyone did a good job. Even with the aunt subpar performance, because everyone else did, it didn't really matter. So no, it was good all the way around. It was good.
Okay, King, anyone?
Yeah, same thing. All around, it was good. I really felt like the mom, she had like the scenes, like the one scene that we sticky with, man. Like, you know, when she was in the tub, she was like, the little girl was like, "Mommy," and she was like, "No, mommy's with the maggots now." I just thought that was just like how you gonna tell some, even with the little girl. Well, even though when the aunt was trying to tell her, "Hey, look, everything's gonna be all right," and then the little girl was like, you're gonna be a good mother because she was like, why, because you lie very well.
Yeah,
it's
that one scene though was like, okay, because the little girl was dumb, all right, and she's a kid,
but still.
So in one scene you have her doing the dumbest thing in cinema, right?
Yes.
In another scene she says something really smart. I guess kids can be like that.
Yeah. She was like a kid.
Yeah.
Sometimes kids come and hit you with like the knowledge of the universe. You're like, what? And then the next thing, they're like jumping headfirst off of the roof. You're like, well, how did you like you have better sense than this? So it makes sense. You know what I mean? And like I said, like it was still her. To her, it was still her mom. It took her a while to realize, no, it's not. It's not my mom anymore. You know what I'm saying? Even with her mom looking busted. It was still at that point. It was still her mom. It took her to realize, like everything is screwed up when her siblings died, and then she's like, okay, this is messed up. Like
I'll give you that. Yeah. At first it bothered me, but I was like, the more I think about it, I'm like, that's kind of how kids are.
I don't know. I'm trying to place myself in that. Just being like, hey, if I see all this craziness going on where there's like straight, like you don't see people get cutting up and killing people in the hallway, like
remember the little girl didn't see all that. The aunt saw that.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
You know what I'm saying? The only thing
that girl was dead bodies when they went out. She saw those dead bodies, sure.
Yeah, but that was way after the fact. When she opened the door originally, remember the only thing that she saw was her mom acting crazy,
singing and sitting Indian style.
So she didn't really see a lot of the gruesomeness that the aunt saw. So that's what I say. It makes a little sense. I'm not saying it makes a lot of sense.
It's like all that stuff ain't happening for no reason. Like,
right. You know what I'm saying? Because
she's young, keep pushing her into the room.
Like,
don't look at this. Don't look. So
I think I agree with John and everybody else. I think the acting all around was pretty good. I have to give it to the mom. The mom, and
she brought it.
Yeah, she brought it. That man, she did a really good job. But no one really stood out to me where they were just like horrible. I do kind of agree at the end with the aunt, who looks a lot like Clea Duvall, by the way. It almost looks like she could be Clea Duvall's daughter or something.
Right.
And Clea Duvall is the goth chick from the movie The Faculty. But anyway, I thought her lines at the end were a little forced, like you said, John. But overall, man, it wasn't bad. What's up, Lexi? Sense a demon out there?
Right.
Hit
Seems like a census.
Be strike 3.
No. Hey,
Come on, let's.
no. But you go out there. Come here, girl. Come here.
They want to go and play.
And then she wants to play with a dog.
But yeah, I thought overall it was pretty good. Some of the writing was pretty good, man. Except for some of the lines at the end were a little eh. But overall, man, it was not bad. I have to say they did the cast. It was well cast.
Right.
Well cast. I don't know about except for the androgyny part. I think they could have got a boy that actually looks like a boy and a girl that actually looks like a girl, which makes no sense because
Well, they may have made them up to look that way. Maybe they may not look like that, normally. Maybe they made them up to look the way that they look.
I mean, they might have. Yeah, I mean, like I said, they're pushing androgyny
Right.
on this younger generation. I don't understand why. I don't get why. But yeah, overall, pretty good. So we're gonna move on to the last category, which is music and our final thoughts. So Carbon X, overall, what do you think of the music? And give us your final rating after that, and your final thoughts.
I was like music. I don't remember some of the only song I remember is the beginning with the title show, but the title raises up out of the water with the lady flying up. That's the only time I remember there giving me music. Other than that, I just remember I don't remember no kind of songs. I was like, because I was paying attention to the dialogue.
Yeah.
The music wasn't anything that like stood out to the point I'm like I just remember it. So besides the beginning, that's the only time I even remember music. Besides maybe like a jump scare or something. It's.
Okay, so out of 5 bulbs, and technically 6 if the movie's really, really good, but out of 5 bulbs,
Legendary.
what would you give it?
I would say like a 4.5.
4.5, okay. Alright. Not bad. Alright. Johnny Mozzarella?
I mean, I can't really remember any specific song, but I mean, it's not the type of movie where you're going to have like this, beautiful Conan music.
There are some horror movies known for their score though, like
Jaws.
Jaws, like Halloween.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
But
Friday
even
13th.
still, it wasn't that. It still wasn't that. It wasn't even that type of horror movie.
Yeah.
Like this was more sound effects.
Exorcist.
Exorcist, yeah.
Yeah.
But even in those movies, the music that you hear from it, they weren't being played
While
you know what I mean? Like Exorcist, it was played like during the scene where she's like walking through. It was played at the very end. But when the action has happened, it's sound effects and it's screeching or you know what I mean. And this
I would say
special
John
sounds
Carpenter
and
though, man, he usually does a really good job with his soundtracks. Are usually pretty memorable. After you watch the movie, I watched that movie. They Live. The other day, and he usually does a pretty good job.
But I thought it was well done. I thought all the audio effects and what little music it went well. Nothing seemed out of place. And I would give it a 4 out of 5. I think it was a good horror movie. I think it's definitely worth watching, especially if you haven't seen any of the original Evil Dead movies. I think it's a good time, and it's not long-winded.
Yeah,
it's not long-winded. So you get in, you get out. They give you a good story. They give you some good acting. They give you some jump scares. It's a good modern with the touch of the 80s thrown in there. So yeah, solid 4 out of 5.
Okay. King 81.
Yeah, definitely for the sound. Same thing like how John was saying, man. A lot of the textures and stuff like that. Because even when stuff is about to go down, it's a mixture of like loud horns and then whatever the texture or visual that you're seeing. Say like with the when she was cooking those eggs. It's like when she throws the eggs on, you can hear the eggshells crack. You can hear that sizzling. You can hear the kind of little subtle. I call it I guess it's like ambience type music a little bit, but it's playing with that scene.
You know what? One thing I remembered is in the beginning. You know how like a fly or a mosquito flies by your ear, it's really annoying. They had that playing in the speakers. It's almost like you get that feeling.
Feel it, man.
So I do remember that.
So I felt like the sound effects and the visuals, really with the sound effects too, that helped connect with the audience with stuff that was going on. Because it was like, man, because even when you can, like when there was an elevator and like you can see the little signs. You see it fill up. You can
Yeah,
hear it, and then
yeah.
with the blood. I mean, it was just on point, man. And even back to with the textures and stuff, like how they had. I think it was, I think their room was 85 or something, or 58 or something like that, dog. And if you add it up, what is that? What, 13 or something like that? So
Oh, wow,
like little
so
southern
yeah,
things.
I
And
noticed
then when
that,
I looked on the thing as well too, it's like, you know, said the 13th floor, but it's kind of like skips. I don't know if they're
Yeah.
actually on the 13th floor or they kind of skipped it.
Skipped it, yeah.
So I mean, but I know it's like sound stuff, but just when little subtle things, it's like you can hear that in there, man. And like I said, even with the like chewing the glass and stuff like that,
It was very visceral.
Or the part where she had the
little
the
cheese grater and stuff. It's like, you know,
leg.
yeah, because even when I was young, I was like, man, that was the average scratch. It's like,
Yeah.
now I know. It's like,
Yeah.
man, so
Yeah, that part right there,
so
boy.
yeah, definitely the soundtrack is more of that texture type sound, and they really nailed it on that too. So I mean, and for a score, I would have to go for a 4 out of 5 too, as well too, man. So I mean, just basically the visuals and the sound. And I really feel like that helped carry the story and plot, because I mean, yeah, they're evil, just evil straight up, but it's just the way how they crafted as well too, mixed it together, did an awesome job. Like I said, it's like, you know, they put their foot on the gas and just kept it down the whole time. It felt like no scene was a safe scene to me in that movie. It just really, that's the feeling I got. Just no scene was safe.
Yeah, it's like
so
there's danger everywhere.
yeah, just the whole time.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, okay,
And,
like
and they had no place to run either.
Right. No, you
Yeah.
can't. I mean, no stairs, no elevator. You got that window. You yelling out for help, and the guy's got the cart just going in the rain. It's
Something
like,
about that
yeah.
window, man.
Yeah.
Climb
Yeah.
up to the next floor.
Exactly. If I was in a situation with done, you would rather take your chance at that thing or climb out the window. I mean, climb out the window, I feel like it's a better chance than trying to fight that. When you're trying to fight an enemy that literally can't die. You know, so I'm just like,
What gets me though is they were shooting guns and everything. No one on other floors heard it. I remember the girl at the end, the one that gets possessed at the cabin.
oh yeah,
say
yeah.
it was
Nobody
lightning
did
and thundering,
Mhm.
and so maybe she just mistook it for thunder. I don't know.
Maybe
I'm
she
like,
probably was
I
on
feel
her phone. Somebody, she was
Yeah.
all into the phone, you know. But I thought she was.
that.
also,
No, boy, hold on. One more happen because I mean, after the earthquake, right? Wouldn't they send somebody up there? Like, isn't there like some kind of protocol
that's
or
it.
something after the earthquake?
Well,
They would check
Well, I
every
mean,
floor?
they were kind of alluding like this isn't the greatest part of town. They
okay,
didn't really
okay.
keep up with the building,
Mhm.
so
And
I
they was
mean,
gonna knock it down
it kind of
anyway,
made
so-
sense. Like,
Yeah, that's how they were trying to get out so they could go find help.
right.
Yeah.
Another thing, a question I got too. Now, when they was in the elevator and it was on that top floor, whatnot, and it's filling up with like blood, and when it you saw like it went past the weight capacity, whatnot, and stuff, and
Right.
it fell. You feel like that all that blood in there is what saved them from the impact?
I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's like,
That's
I really
good.
thought it was like that was a nice little twist.
Yeah.
You know, playing off the weight limit and everything,
Yeah.
and then, you know, for it to slow straight fall, and then it's like the shining ribbon.
Yeah.
It was just wonderful done, man. Yeah, man. See,
Yeah.
4 or 5.
I think when it comes to the music, I agree with Caleb. The only thing I truly remember, other than sound effects,
Yeah.
the actual score was that first part where you see the title. You know, that really set the mood.
Yeah.
That set the mood right there, man. But I don't remember that much music. But like John said, I don't think it's that type of movie. It's really more sound effects and stuff like that. And there is a score, but it's not the type of score that you're going to remember some kind of melody. But if I had to give my final rating, I like the movie, but I think it's an average movie. I think I would give it a 2.5 out of 5. I don't think it really brings anything new to the table. They inserted a lot of feminist crap in there that I don't particularly care for. I think that for me to have given it a higher rating, I would want to see the lore of it explored more. Bring something new to the table. You know what I'm saying? And maybe he'll do it because John did say that the director wants 3 more sequels or
4 more. He actually wants to do 4 more.
he wants to do 4 more sequels. So maybe we'll get more lore about the Necronomicon, what deadites are,
The other books.
maybe the origin story of the other books, because they said there was 3 books. So what we're assuming is that this takes place in the universe of the first 3 movies, the 2 Evil Dead movies, the Army of Darkness movie, and the Necronomicon or the Book of the Dead, and those movies is one of the 3 books, and they have another one of the 3 books in this movie. That's what we're assuming, because the Necronomicons look different in this movie than they did in the previous Evil Dead movies. Yeah, so That's what we're assuming. But if it is going to be more movies, and if they are going to kind of like give you more and have more interesting things going on, it's a good start.
Right.
It's a good start. It's a good start. It's a good homage to the original films. But I don't think I'll watch it again. It was good. It was fun.
I definitely want to show the kids.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe the kids.
Movie night.
And these are older kids. They're like they're teens or high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're not. We're not showing.
Do not show your 5-year-old this movie.
Yeah. You know.
Or you'll be up all night.
Right.
Yeah, but overall, even though I like the film, I don't think it's like some
Average. I don't know. I have to disagree with you. If you'd have said a 3, I'm like, oh, okay. Average 2.5. Average to me doesn't have those types of. It doesn't have that type of cinematography in it. I don't think that's a. Well, I guess maybe because the cinematography. Because the cinematography, I thought in Avatar looked good, but that's definitely an average movie.
film because
okay, never mind.
all the other things bring it down.
Yeah,
the story was okay, and
and I think that's what happened. The ending was a little bit more climatic. It wasn't so anticlimactic. And maybe if we got a little something else,
as far as the story,
I would.
Or the lore.
The lore. I could say, hey, yeah, this is definitely above average. But for me, it just wasn't. I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. I think if you like horror movies, go see it.
Oh,
you're gonna have a blast. But it's definitely not one of my favorite horror movies. I would definitely put the old Evil Dead movies over this one just because they're the originals. And this movie is basically just a rehash in many respects. But overall, I enjoyed it. I don't think you should not watch it. I think it's they did it well. I'll say that they did it well. They did recreating basically the old movies well in a different environment or a different location. And the mother, she did an excellent job. I have to give her that.
Yeah, I think people should go see it just for the mom.
Yeah, she did a good job.
She really brought it.
Yeah. But with that, guys, unless anybody has anything else to add to it.
I felt like in the beginning part too, like when the aunt, not when she was at the concert thing, but like when she was first getting introduced to the to her nieces and all that. Like when she first opened the door and saw like her sister, she's like boo, like kind of scared her, and then then the mom hit her, so it was kind of like roles got reversed. So I like that time. They got little subtle hints and things, man. You know, so definitely it'll be a go back for me just to watch and enjoy it with the family, and friends, stuff like that, too. And find out some new little Easter eggs in it and all that.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, if no one has anything else to say, we're gonna wrap it up. Caleb?
No, anything else.
Johnny Mozzarella?
That's good, man.
Lexi? All right. This is the Lucent Truth with the Lucent Truth signing off with Carbon X, Johnny Mozzarella, Lexi, Anna McMurray. Is that right?
Lexiana.
Anna McMurray.
Lexiana.
King 81.
Most definitely.
And G-Flux the Great.
All day.
See you guys next Friday.
Peace.
Not bad, guys. Wrap that up.
I know.
Simply. Yeah. Not bad, though. I enjoyed it overall. Oh, John, I was looking in my computer case.